Hey, what's up guys? It's been a minute since I did a game hunting video, and I'm headed down to the Bay Area to go hang out with some family and chill out, do some work down there. And figured, we do some game hunting. We'll hit up a few GameStops in this episode. Probably hit up a retro store called the Experience Share in Alameda. It's a super dope location that they have out there. Really cool owner, great game selection. And then, yeah, like I said, we'll hit up some GameStops, see what they have. We'll hit some up out in the Bay, and then we're gonna hit one a little outside of Sacramento too. So stay tuned, this is gonna be a good one. All right, so here's the first GameStop we're at. This is in Davis, California. It's a small college town outside of Sacramento. And they do have a GameStop here. I don't know if it's like a newer GameStop, but it looks like it might be. And they had some PS3 games, which was pretty cool to see, man. Always cool to see PS3 stuff. I'm really happy, man, that GameStop is finally bringing back, some older gen stuff now. It seems like it's pretty much out at every GameStop I go to these days. And, PS4, they didn't have a whole lot. Like, I'm not super hardcore collecting for PS4 right now. If I find something that is a decent price, cool, I'll pick it up. Like right now I'm trying to get Yakuza Kiwami 2 complete in box, but I feel like every time I find it these days, it seems to be loose, which sucks. But yeah, not too much here for PS4. Looks like they had a pretty okay 360 collection. I mean, it wasn't anything too crazy. Like this Armored Core was pretty cool to see, but not CIB, loose for $60. They're tripping. I'm definitely good on that. Because I'm just buying for my collection, man. Like I'm not really looking to flip anything like, a lot of people do. Like if I get something for a steal, cool, I'll pick it up. But as for Xbox One, man, this Turtles game looked pretty sick. I know a lot of TMNT games definitely hold value and are fun. I haven't played this one, but it looks like it has a pretty cool art style. But yeah, bounced out of that GameStop, headed down to the next one, and this one's going to be in Richmond, California. Next GameStop here, this is in Richmond, and this is a smaller GameStop. I've been in here once. It was like a couple of years ago, and they didn't seem to have too much. And it was insane how many loose PS4 games they had here. Little PS3, selection here. Nothing too crazy that I was really like dying to have, but yeah, it was wild to see how many loose PS4 games they had, man. I'm one of those collectors, man. Unless it's a cartridge, I can't have it loose. I don't know, it just drives me crazy. Metal Gear Solid 5 here. I thought about picking it up just because I have that $5 monthly, GameStop Pro thing. But I do have this digitally on PS4. Games like Metal Gear Solid 5 are kind of cool because it really pushed the PS3 to its limits. Like, I'm surprised it runs as well as it does on PS3. And I don't know, I think it's cool to have older cross-gen games. Pretty small PS3 selection here, but regardless, definitely cool that they at least have some. I never played this Ratchet and Clank. I don't know if it's good, man. If you have played this, let me know. I'm curious. I like the Ratchet and Clank series. Off to the Switch section here. Okay selection of Switch stuff. They didn't have a ton. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. I've actually never played any of the Marvel Ultimate Alliance games. I know they're supposed to be pretty decent. And as for, Switch stuff, a lot of it was loose too, especially on the used side, which always sucks. They had some Wii U stuff. I'm not a Wii U collector by any means. I know some of the games are pretty pricey, but still cool to see. Back in the day when the Wii U was new, I literally only knew one person that had a Wii U. It's unfortunate, how bad the Wii U failed, but it seems like a cool system. If I was able to scoop one up for cheap eventually, maybe I'd get it. This DuckTales game is supposed to be pretty fun. I would definitely pick it up for PS3 if I found it for cheap. Heard nothing but good things about it. Off to the next GameStop. This is out in Richmond as well. This is kind of a smaller GameStop. I haven't been here in a minute too. It's probably been like at least a year since I've been to this GameStop. So this one had PS3 stuff too. Was super stoked to see that. There wasn't anything I really had to have though. They had the Sly Cooper collection, which is really nice. It's pretty rare to see these PS3 collections, I feel like, out in the wild now, but I'm not paying $35 for that, dude. I'll just download it on my Vita and play it there. But Yeah, cool little selection of PS3 games. Resistance Fall of Man, that's a classic. Metal Gear Solid 4. This location had a copy of Ratchet and Clank Future Tools of Destruction. Also, they had NBA Jam. This game is super, super fun, like arcade basketball action. If it was like $10, honestly, I probably would have copped it, man. But for 20, I was like, nah, I'm good, even with my $5 coupon. This location had some Wii stuff too, which was dope. I don't know. I feel like for the 7th gen, the Wii stuff is like the least common to see, at least at GameStops. They seem to always have PS3 or 360 stuff, but I don't know. The Wii stuff, the Wii selection seems to be lacking for some reason. They had some Wii U stuff too, just like common Wii U titles. I don't know if that Minecraft is worth anything. Right here, Super Mario Bros. U. Never played this, but you can't go wrong with the side-scrolling Mario game. Tried to zoom in right here so you could see the San Francisco skyline, but it was hella foggy, man. You can barely see the Salesforce Tower. Off to the next game shop we go. So we're officially in Alameda now, home of the Experience Share. It's my favorite retro shop out in the Bay. And every time I'm in the Bay, man, I try to slide through and hit the Experience Share, see what they have. They always have a really great selection of pretty much any gen of games, you know, whatever you like, whether it's Saturn, PSP, 360, whatever, they pretty much got you hooked up. Yeah, the Experience Share, really, really cool store. They have a YouTube channel as well, so definitely check them out. They have some pretty cool videos on there. But yeah, right as you walk in, they have some 360 stuff, which I know everyone seems to be going crazy over 360 stuff right now. You have all these YouTubers just hyping it up, pumping prices. You know how it is, man. People like to manipulate markets, and, you know, hey, it is what it is. But yeah, 2-for-1 going on at the Experience Share, it looks like. So anything $11.99 and under, buy two get one free, basically. Pretty solid selection of OG Xbox games here. NBA Street 2, absolute classic from that generation. I played a ton of it on GameCube back in the day. Fair amount of Xbox exclusives. Everything here, it was pretty reasonably priced, man. Like, they're not gouging you by any means like some retro stores. Like, I thought the prices here were super fair. Gun, that's another really fun game from back in the day. Played that on, I think it was my cousin's PS2 that he ended up giving me. And yeah, you can't really go wrong with OG Xbox, especially with Xbox and, you know, how well they handle backwards compatibility, whether it's a 360, Xbox One, Series X. Like, that's one thing I'll say, Microsoft's killing it with that. But now we're checking out Vita stuff, and I love seeing a nice Vita selection. I don't collect Vita just because of how crazy it is, but always nice to see Vita stuff in the wild. Nice selection of PSP games too. The PSP is another thing I don't really collect for. Like, I collect PSP UMD movies, which is like super niche, and I know a lot of people don't care about PSP movies, but good selection of PSP games. Down here, they have some Japanese imports for, you know, various systems. Some PS1 Japanese imports, some PS2. What you got, Gran Turismo 2 there. I thought this Virtua Fighter 2 looked pretty sick on PS2. Just nice cover art. Can't go wrong with cool cover art. And I don't know, games are really slacking these days on cover art, especially on what they put on the back of a case. Now we're checking out PS2 games. I wish I had all my PS2 games from when I was a kid growing up, but you know how that goes. You end up trading stuff in, things get lost. Unfortunately, that's life. I would say the PS2 probably has the best gaming library of all time. I mean, there's something for everyone, whether you're like a JRPG fan, a 3D platformer kind of guy, a racing game kind of person, sports games. I mean, there's literally something for everyone, and there's so many obscure games. Like even over here, like, there's games that I'm probably seeing for the very first time. Like, that's how large the PS2 library is. It's wild. They had a really good selection of PS3 games, all fairly priced too. What you have, the Killzone HD collection, that's one that's gotten pretty pricey. Katamari Forever, 3D Dot Game Heroes. I know that game is pretty expensive nowadays. Atlas title, practically anything Atlas is going to be expensive. But I'm pretty much at the point with PS3 collecting now where it's like, I have pretty much everything I want. I mean, maybe Yakuza Dead Souls is a game that, like, I would love to have, but it's just crazy expensive. I do have a PS3 pickup at the end of the video, along with some GBA games and some Xbox games, so stay tuned for that. But this was a game that I always thought had a really interesting cover art. Facebreaker, just some dude getting absolutely rocked. I don't know, I always thought that cover art was cool. But yeah, I love collecting for PS3. I think it's still pretty cheap and affordable. modern console, HDMI port, doesn't feel too dated when you go back to it. And here's the PS5 games, not a bad selection considering it's PS5. PS4 titles, they had a ton, but it seems like PS5, there's not a lot of physical games out there. I know most people, at least casual gamers who are playing on PS5, seeing more of this game's hella fun, by the way, but most people who are playing PS5, I feel like, are just buying digital games. I could really see physical PS5 games being valuable like years down the road because it might be the last console with a physical disc, but I don't know. PS5, Xbox Series X, I have not been a huge fan of this generation. Hopefully towards the end of the gen, maybe we get some really just killer titles for it. They had a pretty good amount of Wii stuff too. I don't know what it is with the Wii. Like, I'm nostalgic for the Wii, but there's nothing, that I really want to buy on it. This Godfather game did look kind of cool. I was surprised it wasn't more expensive than it was. I feel like any Godfather title is always crazy expensive, but yeah, $11.99. So that would be in that 2-for-1 deal. I ended up not getting anything that was in that price range to take advantage of it, but hey, it is what it is. I got some pretty cool stuff that you'll see at the end, but yeah, big fan of the Wii. Cool console. I have 2 Wiis, and it's pretty much just a glorified GameCube at this point. I don't really have any Wii titles, just play some old school GameCube stuff on it. Now we're checking out Switch stuff, and the Switch is a system I'm definitely collecting for right now. Here's Bloodstained Curse of the Moon 2. I played the first one on Vita, and it was super fun, old school Metroidvania type game. Right there you got Darius, nice shmup. And I ended up not getting video of kind of their higher dollar Switch games that were, behind the register and stuff. I just completely spaced to get video of it. But for kind of just the mid-level or mid-value games, pretty solid selection that they had. Now checking out the glass case, Jet Grind Radio, absolute classic on the Dreamcast. Such a cool game, really holds up with that art style. Got some PS2 stuff in there. You got some nice PS1 titles. The original Marvel vs. Capcom, $150 for that. Twilight Princess on GameCube, I have that game. Glad I do, because it's $135. That's wild. Kirby Air Ride, another great title. Pokemon Coliseum, crazy to see how expensive that's gotten. Not a ton of GBA games. I did end up scooping up a couple GBA games for mainly a video that I'm going to be doing later on. I'm going to try to play a Game Boy or a Game Boy Advance SP for just a month straight and not touch any other games. I think that'd be a fun little challenge. But yeah, some decent titles. They had, some of the major ones, Donkey Kong, some Japanese Pokemon games. Overall, great condition. You know how it is with Japanese games. Most of the time, they'll be in way better condition than anything in the US. Over here, they had a pretty good selection of Sega Saturn games. Right here, you got King of Fighters 97. I've played King of Fighters 97 a ton on my Vita. Just the graphics, the art style, super, super sick. I highly recommend it if you're into old school fighters. I know 97's not one of the best, but I enjoy it. Yeah, Sega Saturn, super, super interesting console. I've never played one personally, but I would love to, check out the library. The Sega Saturn seems to be filled with a ton of great arcade fighters and shmups, which the older I get, the more I'm down with arcade games. Just, it really respects your time. I feel like the older you get with just work, life, relationships in general, arcade games are great because you can just hop in, play real quick, and then bounce when you need to. A solid selection of Dreamcast here too. Got San Francisco Rush 2049. Figured I'd look at that since we're in the Bay, but yeah, it looks like a fun racing game. Dreamcast is another system that I have not dove into and I really want to eventually. It was cool seeing this old Neo Geo SNK arcade cabinet with Metal Slug on there. Can't go wrong with Metal Slug, man. Such a fun arcade game from back in the day. But yeah, always cool to see those. Here's their handhelds that they had, and then some CIB handheld stuff. You know, Switch, PSP, 3DS, 2DS, some loose DS games in there. I think a Game Gear, yeah, DS Lite, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Edition Switch, which is pretty cool. All right, enough game hunting. Let's jump right into these pickups. All right, so it is pickup time, and you know, not a crazy amount of pickups, but you know, some decent stuff. I got a couple GBA games, some OG Xbox games, and a PS3 game that I've been wanting for a long time. So first off, I guess we'll start with the GBA games. I got both of these at the Experience Share in Alameda. First up, we have a Japanese copy of Super Mario Advance. This is a fantastic game, and got this for like 14 bucks. Super clean copy, authentic, it's real. It's got, you know, the stamp that it'll have on the side like all, you know, authentic GBA games have. But this is a fun one. Already tested it out on my SP right here. It works, so can't complain, man. Just good old Mario fun. And next up, I have another GBA game, and this one takes me back, dude, because I actually had the Game Boy Color version of Donkey Kong Country as a kid, but Donkey Kong Country on GBA. So another game that you can't really go wrong with, in my opinion. I know a lot of people claim that they like the, you know, SNES version better, but it's like, hey, dude, I didn't grow up with the SNES, so GBA is totally cool with me. And the reason that I grabbed a couple Game Boy Advance games is I'm gonna have a video here on the channel in the future where I'm gonna be playing a Game Boy Advance. I'm gonna be playing on my GBA SP for 30 days. No other systems, no other consoles, no modern stuff. I can't play PS5 with my boys or anything, so it's gonna be Game Boy only, man. So I'm gonna be building up that GBA collection a bit. I have some Game Boy Color stuff, a couple, OG Game Boy games, so it'll be fun. I think it'll be a good challenge for 30 days just to go back, kind of detach. I feel like a lot of just collectors and gamers in general nowadays have like a real like analysis paralysis because they have so much stuff like at their fingertips. You can play anything you want literally in a click. So I think it's gonna be fun, going old school, going back to my roots of the Game Boy Advance, dude. I'm definitely looking forward to that. So yeah, shout out the Experience Share, man. Great games, good condition, can't complain. I've bought stuff from there in the past. I think I bought Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City from there a couple of years back. I bought my Kirby Triple Deluxe on 3DS there, I think a couple of years back as well. So great place if you're ever out in the Bay, man. Check them out. They're in Alameda. I'll have either their channel or address on the screen. If you've watched the channel before, this is a little out of character for me, dude. I'm going back to OG Xbox. I'm wanting to build up an OG Xbox collection, man. One, because the games are really fun. I think they're underrated. And the games are hella cheap. Like, I got Fable right here, the first Fable for 5 bucks. And I know there's better ways to play this, right? There's the Lost Chapters, there's the 360 like remake that they did of this. Dude, first Fable, CIB, pretty minty, pretty clean copy, complete, manual looks like it's never even been opened. Disc didn't really have any scratches for 5 bucks. I'll take that all day. And I actually got this at a store not too far from my place, so I didn't pick it up on this trip that you guys saw in the video. I picked it up at a store not too far from me. There's a few of them in my general area, but they sell like records, music, video games, clothes, just like a bunch of random stuff. They're almost like a boutique, but you can occasionally come up there on games, which is really cool. So another OG Xbox game that I've never played before, but I've heard really good things about. It's backwards compatible too, which is super tight. That's Crimson Skies. I've heard nothing but good things about Crimson Skies. Normally, I'm not a fan of like games where you're like flying around, but the cover art on this is super dope. I don't know, reminds me of like a 1940s or 1950s like poster. But yeah, cool era, man. A lot of people say great things about this. And the fact I can play this on my Xbox One, dude, no brainer. This game was also 5 bucks at the same store that I got Fable at. All right, so next game here is a PS3 game. I've been wanting this game for a really long time. Unfortunately, the first one is not on PS3, it's on 360, and that is Condemned 2 Bloodshot. This game, I don't know, man, just the cover art alone looks great. I've seen gameplay of it. You can't really go wrong with having horror titles, like, ever. I don't know, I'm a fan of horror titles. I think they're fun. It's nice to have like a scary game to pop on. I'll probably wait and play this around Halloween. I don't know, maybe I'll pop it in before, who knows, but Got this for 15 bucks. Got this at a local store not too far from me called Fire and Ice Games. I would say it's probably one of the best gaming stores, if not the best in Northern California. Like, their selection is absolutely insane, and they have tons of stuff like trading cards and hella different games. But yeah, Condemned 2, really looking forward to playing this. I never played the first one. It's on 360, but I think it'll still be a good one. And you know, for 15 bucks, CIB, super minty, I can't complain, man. But yeah, that's gonna do it, guys. You know, 5 semi-recent pickups. Haven't really been buying a ton of games lately just because my backlog is insane, and you know how that is. The backlog becomes never ending. But yeah, really looking forward to playing the GBA games. I think Condemned 2 is gonna be tight. I think OG Xbox is a fun system to collect for, but let me know your favorite game out of the bunch here that I picked up. Let me know some OG Xbox games that you think I should pick up. Morrowind is probably another one I'll pick up. I had that when I was a kid and sold it. Yeah, that'll do it for today's video, guys. I'll probably have another game hunting video. I don't know, maybe in the next few videos. I enjoy doing them, and I just think they're fun, man. It's cool seeing what certain stores have. So if there's any retro shops, you know, anywhere in the US that you think are like super worthwhile and, you know, worth checking out, let me know, man. I'm super open to it. That's gonna do it for today's video, guys. Hope you liked it, and as usual, appreciate you watching. We'll see you soon with another video.